platforms. So yay. Welcome everyone to Wednesday with Wellness and the last live of 2020. Please welcome special guest Jacob Moya, who we usually go live with on Mondays, but this week we decided to go live together here on Wednesday Wisdom and Wellness and share about manifestation and really also get everyone else's suggestions and tips that they took on this last year to take with you into 2021. My name is Anuschka. I'm an empowerment health coach.
Excellent.
And energy healer. Yeah.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Jacob Moya, and I'm also a therapist, I will say, a researcher of all things energy, energy of the body, energy inside and out of the body. I'm a channeler as well, so I have a very specific perspective of how energy works inside of us and how it affects us in our daily life, in our reality.
Absolutely. And you are a master manifester, I would say, because you are very clear on energy and how it works. I'd love to hear your perspective when it comes to manifestations. And I know we're doing the meditations the last few weeks, right, for manifesting right now and taking on mantras and whatnot. So could you share a little bit more about that?
Right. Right, absolutely. It's a pleasure actually to talk about this because it's there's this dilemma always in the body or in your mind or in the mind of most of the people about having a destiny in life. Like, for example, words like "it was meant to be," "if it's for you, it's gonna happen," that kind of thing, and it makes you feel and understand that. Your life is already like a schedule, right? You're gonna go to this at that particular time, to this at that particular time, to this at that particular time. And then I remember when I was channeling and I was channeling relatives, recently dead relatives from the people that I was saying, they come and ask them, well, why you have to leave? Why you have to die? And they, like 99% of the time, they were saying like something in the realm of, it was my time, and it's like, come on, so then what's the point of living? And what I try to explain to the people is one, what we have a lot of free choice, but we also have a set of things that we want to experience. And the way that you're going to experience those things is what it makes the difference, but the experience itself, you're going to have it. Like, for example, you can experience loneliness by being an orphan. You can experience loneliness by recently getting divorced or cheating on your mate, and then the whole family and friends breaking up with you and leaving you completely alone. That's another way. You can experience loneliness by getting lost in another country or being jailed in another country. But the only experience is, in reality, everything that happens around you is just serving the purpose for you to experience the loneliness that was something that you come here to master, right? So that's where manifestation and having a set goal, like a guide plan on the things that you really wanted to experience in your life, plays a very important part, and usually people want one of the three things. They want love, they want health, or they want money. It's one of those three things that when you're missing one of those, or you feel that you don't have enough or you're not good enough, right? And so most of the people that come to work with therapists or psychologists, or anybody is because, or coaches inclusively, is because they feel that they are not experiencing these things. Now, many of the times, the reason why we are not experiencing these things is because we don't know that we have a lot of saying in the way that we're going to experience what we choose to experience at another level, you know. And those are the things that are very hard for you to master. What I choose to experience at that at another level. And in reality, who cares, you know, because if you really knew, then you don't gonna go through the emotions that you're supposed to go. And this is gonna create the need for you to go all over again through the same experiences, right? In another lifetime. So what's the point? Now, what we can do is to choose the things that we need to have in our life in order for us to experience, let's put it this way, our contracts, you know, our agreements, our previous agreements before we join the body. And this is what is very important, because nobody teach us the power that we have in our mind, how our mind is connected to the source at all times, and what are the consequences of not having a set direction of the things that you want, right? Because remember that nothing, absolutely nothing that you are experiencing in life, it's how can I say that, it's just by chance. You know, everything is giving you messages, everything is serving a
Friends
purpose.
everywhere.
So, yeah. So that's what you have to become good at it, you know, of understand that when doors are closing in front of you, it's probably because you shouldn't be going through that experience, and you can choose something completely different, you know, and
Yeah.
that's what it's important. So
Yeah,
now,
when there's obstacles, like that's one of the things I always realize. I'm like, if there's like one obstacle, okay, sometimes it's like, okay, that's actually more of like trying to say, hey, are you really wanting this? Right?
coincidence.
Like, yeah, well, right. Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even see it as a coincidence, but it's more of like the universe is like, are you sure you want this? Because if you do, then keep. But and then I feel like when it's one obstacle after another, then that's like a sign. It's like, okay, let's go back and let's actually see what are these signs telling me. Let me check and see if I'm still in alignment. Maybe something new has come about, right? So that's one of the things that I always
Exactly.
talk about. Is like, look for these. Is it going with ease? Is it like literally coming together, or are there just one block after another? That's like a really great way to look at that.
And another thing that is very important, it's that when you are having blockages, the way that I see it is like if your higher self is throwing rocks to force you to go through another direction,
Mhm.
because you need to get a little bit more wisdom inside of you, or a little bit more knowledge, or connect with people that are gonna, through the conversations, bring you some sort of awareness that is gonna take you to a different place. You know, it's gonna help you to adjust, and don't be too rigid with your goals. You know, it's like, for example,
No
I don't know.
attachment.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I want a 19 whatever, you know, 88 red Ferrari with. I have no idea. You know, it's like very specific. I know that coaching and all coaching based on you have to be very specific of how you want, but also allow yourself to swing around that. You know, because maybe before you get that dream collection car, you're gonna have the opportunity of experiencing life in a very luxury car or a very old car, classic car, and you're gonna find out through that experience if you really want to have that classic, because you're gonna see all the requirements, you know, the special insurance, all the care that you need to put on the car, all the maintenance, and the expenses that you're gonna have. That you're gonna get invited to all these different events where you're gonna show up your car. What's gonna be? Someone else gonna go there with you, or this time that you're gonna spend with yourself. You know, so it kind of like it gives you a lot of information to help you revalue your ultimate goal. to help you see if it's really what you really
What, yeah.
want to
What's in your highest
experience.
good too, right? Because sometimes it's like the ego
Yeah.
part of us that really wants that 1980 red Ferrari or whatnot. One of the things like I always share with my clients is whenever they are being specific with something, always add one, first and foremost, no limits. Because when you say that specific, you're limiting yourself because maybe there's something even
Oh
better
yeah.
out there, right? So it's like
Yeah.
saying what it is that you really desire and then always adding or more or better, right? So you're always saying that or more because you may not be able to even imagine at this point in who you are in this
Right.
moment what it is that is in your highest good because it's out there. It's not in this past and memories and the experiences you
Yes.
have right here. So it's like always adding that piece of it, right? So you're become at that point limitless rather than limiting yourself.
Exactly. Now, the other thing is that when you are first starting to manifest things, it's hard to believe how it works, because everybody have a different approach, and everybody's telling you something different. But in your brain, you haven't created those references. You're still on the stage of this works for everybody, but for me, right? Which is typical, and so you need to start with something that is impactful enough to know that it's not just by chance that you got it, but not too life changing that is going to take a massive shift inside of you in order for you to get it, right?
Right. Right.
So, for example, you can start with a relationship with the best friend from I don't know, from you were in elementary school or whatever, and so you have to start with something that is not too
Parking.
threatening for you. Yeah, not
Parking is
too
a really,
threatening for you.
really good because a lot of times people be like, oh, it works for me when I do it with like X, Y, and Z, but not when it's with money or love, right? Like I hear that from a lot of people when it's like, well, if it works with one thing, then really focus on the fact that it works with that and see what is it that you're doing there that is making it manifest because you believe without doubt, right? Without any doubt, you're feeling it. You're
That
like,
you're
it's
gonna
gonna happen.
get. Yeah, and what happens, the way that I see it, the secret sauce is in two areas. One is to be able to place it in your subconscious mind, and the second is to attach emotions to it, and these two go hand to hand, you know, because your
And there's one
subconscious
more,
mind,
one
and I
more.
use this example.
I'm
Yeah,
going to add one more to that and taking
go ahead.
actions in alignment with that. Because that's the
Oh
big
yeah,
piece that
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people miss. And they're like, oh, law of attraction. You just sit there on the couch. And I'm like, no, there's definitely action that needs to take place.
Yes, yes,
That's something I
yes,
want to
yes, yes,
add.
yes,
That's the
yes.
secret sauce. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. In my case, action goes one step below. In my belief, right? It's not saying that is not that important, because this is what happens. In other life events that we have, we share about the subconscious mind and how it works, and how many times you can have your sunglasses in your head and you're looking for them all over the place, and you can just think inside of you that you lose them, and it goes to a particular side of your brain that actually believes that you lose them, so you cannot feel it until someone else point at them, or you actually take them because you're going to do something else, and you're like, oh my god, here they are, or your keys, or everybody went through this experience at one point or another. And it's usually that your subconscious mind got the idea or the order somewhere from your brain that you shouldn't be able to see this. There's plenty of examples of, it is called street hypnosis. You can search on Google street hypnosis, and you can see these hypnotists going into the brain through relaxation of the people, and then telling them what they see and what they cannot see. And it's like, I'm gonna make myself disappear, and you're not gonna be able to see me. And they're in front of them, and they cannot see you and see them. And it's like, where are you? And where you go? Oh my God, this is impossible. Yeah, that's because the order went to that particular area of your brain where allow your awareness to notice the things or to don't notice the things that you're searching for. It is challenging to do it on your own, but not impossible, but it's challenging. And this is the reason why we create these affirmations, or I call them mantras because I use them as mantras. I use them many times in the movies you see the Muslims you know, uh, praying, you know, like praying all the time.
Right.
Okay, it's to use it like that because you don't know at what time your subconscious mind, or that part of your brain that is in charge of creating your reality or your awareness, is going to be open to receive that information in. And that is the reason why I ask them to carry this with them all the time and have a reminder, like, for example, carry a bracelet or do something that is going to help you to
That's
be
something
in constant reminder. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, yeah, you got to
Now,
do what works for you. Absolutely.
yeah. And then the other thing that it's important to check is if you believe it. And this is when it's easier to do it with a therapist. Because, for example, when I have clients, I usually go through a session with them where we remove all the garbage, all the stuff, and then we create a mantra for them and give it to them. So they can, first of all, they're vulnerable because their emotions, they just went through an emotional event. But second, they have this information, new information, to replace the energy of of the emotions that just body. You know, so we have that void, and we have these other beautiful words. That is what you want to experience. Once it is in your mind, once it is in your subconscious mind, once you are able to sleep and think of it, then it's gonna become a reality.
Yeah.
Then you are like one step away of becoming a reality, you know. And like I said, if you create one, that is the best time for you to start building up the next one. You know, once you know that you are close to one or you manifest one, it's very important to at that particular time start working on your thing and make sure that you're gonna carry on with a very specific message that is gonna define everything that you want.
Absolutely.
Careful here. We are not saying that you are not going to go through your life contracts to the experiences that you're going to have, right?
Yeah.
Got nothing to do one thing with the other. One, see it as an instrument. The manifestation is the instrument that is going to help you to go through the experiences that you choose to have in a very particular form, you know? Uh, uh, like I said, we were talking about loneliness, you know, and you can experience loneliness when your children left home, you know, but you can still be in love of your wife or your husband or whatever it is, you know, in your case. You can still have a beautiful relation and experience that loneliness by them going away, or by going with your loved one to another country to, I don't know, for work or whatever it is, you know, and having all your friends left in your previous city. So that's how it is with that, you know. Now, another thing that is very important is to understand how your brain works, because we have the left side of our brain and the right side of our brain. And the one that allows you to dream and to experience all these beautiful emotions is your right side. I'm gonna teach you guys an exercise that it will be important for you to do. To give you this as a gift, I usually just share my tools when I'm in therapy with my clients. But in this particular case, it's Christmas time, holiday, almost New Year. What the heck, you know? We all, at one point or another, love ourselves, right? Physically, you know? It's like you have an intimate release, right? In order for you to produce the result, which is the ecstasy of reaching the climax, you have to create a whole story in your brain. pay attention in which side of your head you're carrying over that image. You're gonna notice that 99% of the time it's gonna be on the right side of your brain. That's where all the vivid images are coming from. When you are dreaming at night, like a day before yesterday, I think. I usually don't remember my dreams.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Well, I woke up because the noise was too loud. I was in a concert where it was a young lady, kind of like Miley Cyrus. It looks like her playing music, like dressing in black, and it was the music that I'm not enjoying. I mean, I'm 50, almost 51 years old now, so it's like we have a generation break, you know, between the music and the music that I like.
Right.
And it was too annoying for me to the point that wake me up. And when I woke up, it's like, oh my God, it was a dream. You know? But like I said, it's that powerful. You know, our brain is that powerful. You know, it creates. It was so real. I have the smells. I can tell you in which place of the scenario I was in, and where she was playing. You know, and the smell of the smoke of the thing that they do to create this fog in the scenario. You know, all this stuff. You know, I was there. And first of all, I went there for another artist. But when he finished, I cannot even remember who it was. You know. But when they finished, it was this lady playing, and it was for me was like, oh my God, it's time for me to go. I hate this. But I don't remember. Look at this. I don't remember who I like, but I do remember what I don't like. You know, and created an emotional reaction inside of me to the point that affected my reality. Right.
And you wake up on, that's when they say you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, right? Just do the releasing.
Yeah. So the thing is like, oh my God. But anyway, I come back down and I went to sleep again and forget about that. But I usually naturally pay attention in which side of my brain I'm carrying that. Also, if you feel sadness, loneliness, any of the dense emotions, pay attention in which side of your brain you have that image, that emotion, that feeling. Of course, you feel it on the body, but where in your brain is connected to it. It's gonna give you a lot of information that you can use on your manifestation. You know, here we don't have enough time.
I feel like mine is usually like right here, right in the center.
Okay, but it's charged to the right or charged to the left. Because if it's in the center, pay attention to this. You are using both brains, you know, which is in that's what you want to do when you are creating manifestations. But when you are recording the information in your brain, you don't want to use this. You want to use the right one. The right one. Because the right one is the one that is gonna create the emotions, you know, and the emotions are gonna create that openness in the subconscious mind that are gonna allow to record the message. You see, so that's what is very, very important. It's these are the little tricks that really help you. And when people tell me, oh, I don't know how to manifest, I've never been able to manifest anything, I ask them, do you self-love yourself? You know, it usually isn't a very more specific way because we are just together and no one else is listening, right? But it's like, do you, you know, have you been able to reach climax through that? Yeah, you can manifest, you know, because that's a fictitious image affecting your reality to the point that you are creating an emotional reaction that sends an explosion of energy through all your body, you know? So definitely, if you are able to do that, you definitely can manifest. Definitely can manifest. There's no, you just need to use the same tools that you use for that. And notice another thing. No one taught you how to self-pleasure yourself. It's come naturally. It's part of your ROM memory. It's there already. You know, the only
Or
thing
even
that you have to
dream
do,
for that matter, right? Like when you
yeah,
talk about it, you're not taught to dream.
yeah.
It's
So what you need to do is just use the same protocol and adapt it to the things that you really want to experience in your life. The third component, the second component is action, you know, is do something about it. That's very important. And Anushka is all about that. So she can explain that better than me 100 times. But the third component, which is very important, is see if you are in total alignment to receive that, because this is where therapists and coaches can be very, very important for this. Because you can say, oh, definitely, you know, why in my right mind I wouldn't like to have a raise or a job or get this promotion or so on and so forth. Well, that is at the rational level. Yeah? That's one side of your brain. But you also need to check if the experiences that you are living for those contracts that you came here to live are in alignment with the things that you want. Because if you came here to experience poverty in this world and you are searching for wealth, it's gonna be challenging. I'm telling you this, because every time that you have money, you're gonna manifest also something to give it away. Can be a fine, can be sickness, can be a loved one getting in an accident, it can be something. You're gonna manifest something to give it that away.
right.
Now, you have to go deeper, and for those things, you really need to go to very specific type of therapist. But it's to go to the source of the reason why you've been experiencing poverty, because most of the times it's something that you're not only experiencing on yourself alone. It's something that is coming from heritage, right? From
Right.
the family that received you for this experience. It's like they make money and they lose it and they'll give it away, or someone else cheat on them, or whatever, bad investment. I don't know, an earthquake and they lose all the investment, whatever it is, you know. But it's a program that is being repeated through generations, and if you are here and wanted to change it, that is the first sign that you can take as you have the support of the whole lineage for you to finally heal that event. You know, it's like, yeah, we all want to change it from now and on because we all live the experience that we needed to live. But you have to heal it, right? And there's a lot of work. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's not impossible though, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So you have to realign yourself towards that, you know.
And be open to that too, because that's like the key, right? Being open to wanting to do the work and committing to it and wanting to shift.
Definitely. I have a series of questions that when I'm at the center, at the holistic center where I'm usually during the weekdays working, it's a set of questions that I give them to check with clients, especially first-time clients. And it's 8 different questions. I don't know if I'm gonna remember all of them because I haven't written down, but it's like, it is okay for you, in this particular case, will be to manifest this thing. And I check with my pendulum. By the way, we're having a class on pendulum. This is where it's, yeah, this is where it comes very, very, very good for you, you know, because you can just go, I'm gonna check something on me, for example. It is okay for me to have lasting love in my life. Well, tell me yes. It is safe for me to experience lasting love in my life, and I gotta know. You see? Why? Because there are things that I still have to heal. But it's okay for me to have it. It's just that I am not ready for it. So now let's say that in my mantra, which is not something that I'm working on right now, but let's assume that I'm saying that I am living life with the love of my life, and I am totally in love with her as much as she is in love with me, and so on and so forth. Well, I'm fighting, because remember, your mantra and your desires are energetic, right? It's emotional, energetic. But I also have an energetic thing on the way making sure that I don't get it, right?
Yeah, like in the
So who's gonna win?
whatever it is. Right?
Exactly, it's in the subconscious mind. It's in the subconscious. So who's gonna win? Well, most likely it's gonna win the subconscious mind. You
Yeah,
know,
'cause it's
just
running, like,
remember.
95% of the time, the subconscious mind is pretty much running. So it's like,
Yeah, just remember this, right? Where are my sunglasses? Where are my sunglasses? And you don't feel them, right? You
right,
don't feel it. Why? Because the program was on your subconscious mind, not on your rational mind. Your subconscious is always gonna win because it's active 24/7, and your rationality is active only when you put your attention towards.
yeah, when you're
You
caught.
know, so that's a difference. So careful with that. And the other is it is safe for others if I manifest this.
Right.
Maybe I have a karmatic thing with someone else that I need to heal before I can get into this. Yeah, it is safe for me to manifest that, because it could be that is not safe for me. You know, it can be that is gonna create harm in my life. And of course you're gonna say at the rational level, really? Well, yeah, really. Believe me, because your subconscious mind is active 24/7,
Right.
right? And so on and so forth. So we go usually through 8 different questions to make sure that the person that is coming to at the center and want to work one specific thing is really ready for that. And if they are not, that is the first therapy that we have with them. You know, releasing all the emotions, releasing all the reasons that they have to be misaligned until we check them and it's perfect. And then they go away, and next week when they come back, we check them again. We go through the same questions all over again. And we don't mention these questions to them. At the beginning, I was saying those things to them, and they were like, nah, that can be, and so on and so forth. You know, it's like, nah, that is not
Mhm.
real. How come I don't love myself? And you know, it's like, what can I say? You know. So now I do it in silence. I do it in silence. I just connect with them, and I do it in silence and play with my pendulum, and I see it. You
Yeah.
know, and that's how it is. You know, that's how it is. You need to be in total alignment. So
Right.
we already went through very important information, guys.
Yes.
The first one and the most important one is you need to have a direction. You need to make a decision. In another life, we also talk a little bit about this, how I, um, I was explaining to you guys the way that I explain to my clients. You know, it's like you, the person, me, in my case, Jacob, 6'2", almost 51 years old, male, Hispanic, and so on and so forth. This is my physical self, right?
Right.
But inside of me, I have my energetic, emotional self. For me, it's just one. And then I have my spiritual self, right? My spiritual self is coming with their own karmas and lessons, and is the one that I would choose. This is the great family for you to be as weird as you want, and you're gonna be safe, you know, experiencing that weirdness you want to experience in this lifetime. Okay, choose a perfect family for that. That was my spiritual self. My emotional self allow me to feel and pay attention only to the situations in my life that were reinforcing inside of me or creating the rules inside of my brain that were proving me that I shouldn't be trusting people outside of me. You know, that I needed to trust only myself so I can have be introspective and self-reflective and so on and so forth. But then my physical self is the one that go out into the world and start making friends and start experiencing things and start noticing, oh, you know, not all families are the same. You know, not everybody have an older sister and a younger sister. There's some have two brothers, and I want to have a brother.
Person.
And then I see, yeah, and
Even
then I
each
notice.
person in a family, like even each that individual is going to have a very unique experience, even if it's in the same,
Exactly.
no matter what.
Exactly. And becoming more aware of things and things that you don't have, but other people have that you can desire, you know, and so on and so forth. Well, the same way that your subconscious mind always gonna win the argument between your rational brain and your subconscious brain or unconscious brain, the same way your physical self always gonna win the argument between you and your spiritual self and your energetic emotional self, because your physical self only have this lifetime to experience everything that they want to experience.
And it's
The other
real
two,
too, right? Like that's the thing about being human. Yes, we have all these contracts and agreements, and we have free will.
yeah, but you not only have free will, yes, because it's free will is kind of like a rule, it's so important for you in your life that the other versions of yourself are second to it. And that's why it's the power of intention, or when you say action is part of your intention. You need to have an intention of getting these particular things to experience in your life. And then you need to have the action, which is the permission that you give to yourself, how you prove yourself, your energetic and spiritual self, that you are really, that this is really something that you want to do and something that you want to have in your life. Because without it, nothing is going to happen. So you need to have the intention. That is the mantra. This is what I want in my life.
And it
And,
can
and,
be a
and
vision board. So I do want to put that out there because some people do it visually too, right?
it's, we all are different people,
Right.
and the perfect will be to use all your senses,
Like in key together. Because that's what I did.
that is,
When I went through everything, I had the vision board, but I also had mantras on the vision board. I had
yeah, and you were using essential oils and the humidifier, or I don't know how to say it.
the what?
The thing that you put drops essential oils
Oh
and
yeah.
the vapor thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Too.
and then you need a taste as well. You need to use all your senses for that, all your senses to make it real. Once again, like when you are pleasuring yourself, it's no different. You are using all your senses. You are with your eyes closed and you are feeling, and because you feel it, you create all this massive shift of energy that creates a reaction. You have to use the same formula, exactly the same formula. You have to go back and put a smell to that particular thing. Can be the smell of money, can be the smell of go to any health store and purchase an essential oil that you feel that represents this thing that you want to create in your life. Bring it home and start writing down your mantra, and then get a little bit on your finger and put it in your head, and then allow yourself to impregnate with that. In psychology we call that anchors. You're creating anchors, and so eventually you can use something that is going to remind you constantly about that. And in the four component, that is probably it's four because of the order that you have to do it, but it's the most important of everything else, and it's consistency.
Yes.
Everybody fell there with the consistency. You do it for a month, you do it for 2 months, and if not happens, you keep that away.
Well, it's like anything else. Like if we were to just drive, when we learn to drive, right? When
Yeah.
very consciously, we gotta, like we talked about this, where you're like looking around everywhere and all that stuff. But imagine if you did that just a couple times and then you didn't drive for 5 months or so. Well, you're gonna have to start all over again, up until it becomes that habit and it gets replaced in your subconscious mind. Then
Yeah, now you don't even need to think it.
yeah, you don't have to think about it. One of the things I wanted to add, because I love Bruce Lipton, I know I've shared about him in previous lives as well. He mentioned that one of the reasons why kids like around like from ages like 0 to 7, they're like sponges, right? And it's because their brain wave or the signal of their brain is like theta wave, right? I feel like we've talked about this possibly. And so he also mentions that when we're going into that meditative state, when we're in that deep, which we do, by the way, Mondays now, and I want to make an announcement about that too. But when we get into that meditative state, and before we actually fall asleep, we're back in that theta wave, which is that, and right before we fall asleep or right as we're waking up, our brain wave is still at that theta wave. And that right there is where you can re-record your subconscious as well. So that's something that I wanted to share as a tip that I've learned. And when I'm going to bed, right, when I'm passing out, as I'm like almost asleep and not there, that's when I start saying my mantra a lot of times. Of course, right after meditation. And then as I'm waking up too, a lot of times, like as I'm waking up, right before I'm actually fully awake, I start thinking about my mantra. So that's something that I've been taking on for a while now, because I'm like, oh, theta wave, here we go. So that's something that I wanted to put out.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we need to carry. All these different tools help you. Help you to be part of that, to create that thing. Because remember, the challenge is only to create the first one, the first reference, because that first reference is gonna create those links, those neurological connections that is gonna make it a reality in you. And once we have it there, then it's very easy, then it's not a big deal, because you can just start stepping up and going for something more difficult and something more difficult and something more difficult and something more difficult until eventually you get it. It becomes part of your life, and you are teaching it. So give you guys that gift. This is the perfect time. Remember that our physical, it's always about it's all about rituals. When you are on your physical rational brain, you need to have a ritual that represents what you are doing to make it real, to give yourself an opportunity of chance to make it happen. So
Like
part of the ritual.
I always recommend start with parking. Parking spaces is such a great way. It's to the point where those that are around me now, like my mom and Ashkan, who are very skeptical about it, they've actually taken it on because they see how I'm like, nope, I know it. I'm going to get the best spot. I'm so like determined. And I swear every single time, even yesterday at Costco, okay, the day before, like 2 days before New Year's Eve, we get there and literally the best parking spot you can imagine. I'm like, right as I'm like coming up, and no one was there but me to get it. And my mom just laughs. Like both Ashkan and my mom just laugh now. And they've actually, I feel like, are starting to manifest it too, because they believe, right? So that's, I feel like, a really good one to start with, just to start seeing it and really believe that it may take a few times, but you gotta believe and have no doubt that it's going to happen. Be in alignment. Right? So that's like a good place to start.
Yeah, and right now it's perfect, because we are going through this change of season. We're going into the new year, so everything is ready for us to create something, to create a new program. Now, remember that we here haven't talked when it comes to manifestation about your environment. Because honest to God, the environment don't affect anything. There's tons of people, there's even in the news, tons of people that are making tons of money during the pandemic.
Totally.
And
I've had the best year ever. Many have.
Yeah, so the environment is just a consequence. It's just to put a little bit of flavor to your life, so don't stop because of the pandemic, or because of you are not feeling good, or you're alone, or whatever it is. Use this opportunity to start creating something for you, something that you want to get into your life, bring into your life, to experience in life, and then go through something that is really important for you guys. Don't be superficial. Just go for something that really is important. Like, for example, if it's money, I understand money, it's important. Well, yeah, it's but go for something very specific, kind of like an amount of money, and it's gonna go,
and what
it's
it's going
gonna
to
be.
provide you, because that's really, because money, so what, money for what? So that's really the
Yeah,
like, okay, what do you want that much money for? What is that going to provide you? Because that is actually what's going to create that excited feeling, that like, oh my gosh, super joyful feeling, it's not the money itself, because that's just temporary. You get there and then what? Like it's just temporary.
Exactly.
So it's like really getting
Yeah.
to like the why.
Yeah, and what I was trying to get to is like it's gonna be from a job, it's gonna be from a business, it's gonna be through what? You know, what is the instruments that you choose to? Because you gotta make a decision, you know, and most of the time we live confused. You know, we don't really know what we want in life. And that happens to all of us. All of us, I'm included in that. You know, we don't even know what we want many times. Like for example, in my case, I play a lot with this when it comes to relationships. And I was like, oh, I would love to date this woman, and I would put it in my mind, and it was, yeah, it's gonna happen, and then I gonna date, and then boom, 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 boom. And once I was there, it was like, damn, what I'm doing here, you know. It happened to me quite often. So until I stop and I say, I first need to heal myself and see what's wrong with me, and then I need to focus if I really want to have a relationship, and with whom I'm gonna get it, right? So the thing is that you have to be aware of being wrong, but get there first. You know, you have to allow yourself to get to the point where it's real. Once it's real, if you change your mind because the information around you change your mind. Let it go,
No
change
attachment.
the thing.
Yes. No.
But you have to go all the way. If not, it's gonna be very hard. It's
Yeah.
gonna be very hard. Okay.
And then
So
also be aware of the patterns. I know with me, like for instance, relationships was definitely a huge difficulty as well until I met Ashkan, and I'm very blessed now. But before that, and I didn't really notice the patterns, but in hindsight, like towards the end, when I first met Ashkan, that's actually when I started noticing the patterns, and I'm like, oh my god, I self sabotage, and I'm so grateful that I was like, I need to do something about this, because I, for the first time, started seeing that it was me. And
yeah,
even though things went all kinds of different ways in the past, but I really took on the work, because I'm like, no more. I need to heal this. I need to transform this. And that's when I
yeah.
started doing all the transformation work. And of course, crying and healing and crying and all kinds of stuff in between, because that's
It
healing.
is. It is.
Crying
It
is
is.
healing, guys.
Well, like I said, I mean, if it's a work that you are doing consciously, you need to have some sort of ritual to relieve that stuff, you know. And crying is part of the ritual. It's
Absolutely.
part of the acknowledgement, and it's part of you allowing you to feel everything, you know, mistake, disappointments, feelings of hurt, hate, all whatever it is, you know, just go through the process, go through the experience, let it go, and then bring the stuff that you want to bring in, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
If you are able to do this while you're meditating, you don't need the physical ritual, because you're not using the logical part of your brain. You're using the other, the emotional. So it's all about feeling and experiencing, you know. And it's good as well. I mean, any way you want, but you have to come to that part where you align yourself. And in order for you to align yourself, you have to be ready. In order for you to be ready, you have to heal all the stuff that you've been carrying, either from yourself, from your own self, or that you've been receiving from your lineage, you
Right.
know, from your ancestors.
Yeah. Or even
Okay.
if you're an empath, the energy you take on from others is healing through
Oh
that.
yeah.
We do
Yeah.
have an
Yeah.
online workshop for that. And speaking of workshops, I know we mentioned this earlier. We are having a pendulum workshop on the 17th of January, which is a Sunday, and it will be from 9 to 1, I believe, is the time that we set. So, starting the new year, I'm going to start sharing more about that. And so will Jacob, for those of you that are interested to learn more about it, actually learn how it's used, what you can use it for, and all the good stuff. And even really seeing the quality of questions, which, whether or not you want to get into pendulum, that in itself is everything. The quality of the question, if you, when you use your intuition, is key. 100%. So that's like another.
Totally, totally. And the pendulum is it's an amazing tool because it helps you to bypass that logical critical self, you know, that brain that let us know yes or no. You know, I always have one. Like right now I am on my car, I have one right here next to me.
I
You
have them
know,
everywhere.
yeah, and then I use my organ also as a pendulum when I don't have one next to me, and I work with them all the time, because
Yeah.
the pendulum is just basically catching the magnetic field. And that's what we want, to learn how to create a magnetic field in the answers, and how to do an interpretation of the information that we're getting. Okay.
Yes. And then lastly, what before I share this too, I really want to open up the floor, I should say. If anybody wants to share their own tips with manifestation that they've taken on this last year or even before that, right? Any tips that you feel like you're open to sharing, please go ahead and share it with us in the comments and I will read them, because hey, every person does things differently and we can always learn. We're always here to learn and improve and grow, right? So would
Definitely.
love to hear from others. While waiting for that, I also wanted to share that we, like I said, we have our Monday meditations at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. They're $20, but starting the new year, we are going to offer for those that, because there's many that come with us every week. So we are offering a special price for a month, $50. So you can pay the $50 and come to every single one in that month. And you'll have some savings there for you. So I did want to share that as well.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, any question, guys, now is the time. um, we usually don't hold anything, you know. We share all the tools and all the things that we have when we're doing these interactions with you guys, because nowadays the videos are for like a couple seconds and then move on to the next one, and so the people that stick with us, we want to make sure that they get what they need, you know. So
And
it,
if anyone wants to go even deeper, if you want to take your health and well-being to the next level, take on some of the subconscious healing and energy healing and lineage healing and all of that, you are more than welcome to reach out to either one of us. We work with people, we support people, empower those that do work with us to get there. So feel free to reach out to us, even if you're curious and see what you could get out of it.
absolutely, absolutely, it's always a pleasure to be able to help you guys.
Yes. And it looks like I'm not getting any comments here. We're just about on time.
Okay.
Anything you want to
Well,
share with the new year coming up?
happy new year for everybody. You know, you make your own world, you make your own reality, so be aware of it, and come to terms with it. And if the present that you are living is not something that you are enjoying, is because of decisions that you took in your past, and right now is the past of your future self. So make the changes and adjustments that you need to do right now to create a better you tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And one thing I'd like to add, one of the questions you can constantly ask yourself is, would this benefit my future self? Would my future self take this on? Or anything to do with the future self, because you know what your future self, what you want your future self to be, right? So when you do that, you may get a better answer. So take that into the next year. 2021 is here. We're going to leave 2020 behind and leap into the new year with high energy, higher consciousness, and all the wonderful magical things.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yes.
Okay, guys, it's been an honor and a pleasure to share all this knowledge or wisdom with you guys. I hope that is helping you to create a better version of yourself, or to bring you awareness on things that you have to work on. And I really, really, really look forward to continue doing this for as long as possible.
Same, same. Have a wonderful rest of your last couple days. Bye.
Bye bye. Happy New Year.